Afternoon, David. Good to see you.
Aye.
We'll start with the transfers, if I may. Any business that's potentially happening for West Ham fans to get excited about?
No, not at the moment. No, not that I can think of. No, we sort of said in the summer that that was probably doing most of our business in the summer. Hey, we might try and do something in January if the right player comes available. But at the moment, we're going with what we've got.
You've been linked with a striker at Sevilla, Youssef Nasiri.
Mm-hmm.
Is he a player you've been looking at or be keen to bring to the club?
It's a player we've been looking at for a few years, not just recently. So yeah, you're right with your question, but I don't think he's coming to West Ham, no.
And in terms of players potentially departing, there's been a little bit of a rumour about a couple of your players leaving. Craig Dawson to Wolves, is he a player that potentially could leave in this window?
I don't know, but we've had an offer from Wolves, so at the moment, no, we've not accepted it. But that's about as much as I can tell you.
Is it expecting that he may leave in this window though? If they put one offer in, it generally means that.
No idea, not at the moment. No.
And there's been a little bit of talk about Mikel Antonio potentially leaving. He's obviously been a key player for West Ham for a number of years. Yeah. Would you be open to him leaving, or is he someone?
Well, we've had no offer, or we've had no inquiry, so I don't know where that's sort of grown legs from. But nevertheless, no, Mick's really important to us.
And you can see him staying until the summer at the least.
Oh, I think he's got a 2-year contract, Mick, so he's here for a while.
Clearly a positive result in the FA Cup, first win in 7 matches. How much has that given everyone a real lift around the place?
It was a terrific result for us because Brentford's not an easy place to go and win. As all teams are proved, we found it hard against them in the league the week before as well. So to get a result against them was good. Yeah, so we're pleased that you want to be in the cup competitions. We're in the European competition. We're in the cup competition here. So no, long may that continue.
Up next, Wolves. Through your analysis, what have you seen perhaps that Julian Lopetegui has done differently in the short space of time that he's been a manager? Because he certainly seems to have turned things around very quickly.
I think Wolves have always been a good team. I think they've had some really good players in their lineup over many years. We played against them last year when he was manager of Seville, so we've got an idea of what his traits and what his style was then. I see little bits of it at the moment. And look, they're beginning to grow. They're looking as if they're making a few signings as well, Wolves, so they're trying to add to what they're doing. But it's always been a difficult game at Wolves, and over the years they've had a good team.
They've only scored 5 home Premier League goals this season, but could they be dangerously underestimated because of the type of football they're playing at the moment?
Well, I think always when you're getting told that, you're always worried about it because you're always saying hopefully it doesn't change, the luck doesn't change. But we've got to try and make sure we keep them out, score goals ourselves, and try and pick up all 3 points.
And just the final one from me. In 2004-05, you took Everton into the Champions League, and the following season you finished 11th. Was that a transitional season for you while you were rejuvenating and rebuilding that Everton side? And is this perhaps something similar happening at West Ham? You've had 2 incredible campaigns. This season hasn't gone to plan, but is this a period where you're rebuilding to go again?
I think it quite often happens. You see teams winning the Premier League and they find it quite difficult the next year to win it back to back, and it's only just recently happened, but it's not been something which happens very often. I think for clubs like ourselves, like West Ham, and even my time at Everton, while you're growing it, while you're trying to improve it and bring in new players and quite a bit of movement, it can take a bit of time. And yeah, I remember the period really well. We got to finish 4th and ended up getting a playoff game in the Champions League, and we didn't quite get through against Villarreal. But it happens. Sometimes it happens the following season. It can be difficult to go again. And to be fair, we've had probably 2.5 really good years, and we're just finding it a bit tougher this year.
And then the following season, you finished 6th in the Premier League again. So you went from 4th to 11th to 6th, and that was that process, which perhaps is happening here at West Ham, hopefully.
Well, I said at the start when I came in here, it quite often happens. If you think it's a one way, you can just keep going up all the time. It's very, very difficult to do that. There has to be bits along the way. And that's when you need a bit of patience. You need people to stick with you when it's not quite so good. And I have to say that's just the way it is. I think when you're building, unless you've got so much money that you can go and buy everything you need every year, in every window you have a bit of a dip you can keep buying. When you're not a club like that, you need to sort of build a team, and it goes stage by stage.
Thank you.
Roger, PLP.
Hi David, just looking ahead, not just to this game, but also beyond that, Everton as well. You look at these couple of fixtures that are coming up now, and given where all the teams involved are in the table, is this sort of a real pivotal period in terms of an opportunity to put a real cushion between yourselves? And
It's an opportunity for all the teams, isn't it? Not just us. I'm sure they'll be asking the same questions at the Everton press conference, or asking the same press at the Wolves press conference. So yeah, it's a great opportunity for us, and we have to try and take it.
Just looking at some of the stats going into this one, just a couple of things that I've picked out and doing some of the reading. A lot of your stats this season are quite similar, if not better, than last season in terms of crosses, interceptions, tackles, and so on.
Yeah.
But the results have been different.
Yeah.
Do you look at that and think we're actually not doing too much wrong?
We have looked at it, and we agree with what you're saying. We've seen an awful lot of the stuff which we've not. There's been very little fluctuation from last year to this year. The difference is we've not scored the goals this year, which we got last year. We opened the season in really good form. The pre-season before last one, we won just about all the games, scored. We went into it. This season, if you look at our pre-season, we didn't do that. We missed big chances, and it sort of went malaised into the Premier League at the start of the season, and we've really struggled, whether it was scoring penalty kicks, whether it was getting goals at Notts Forest right at the start of the season. We just couldn't get it, and it's been a little bit of continuation of that. So that's really the biggest department where we've not sort of achieved, and we need to get back to it.
Is that one of the biggest frustrations of being a manager? Because that's an element that you can't really control, because the team's doing everything right up until that point where they stick the ball in there.
Well, we've got to. We know that we are in control of it. We're the coaches, we're the managers, so we take responsibility for it. So, we're supporting the players. We're trying to give them as much confidence. But even our wins. We're winning now. Last week we win. We shot from outside the box. It was a screamer. So we're needing to find ways of scoring more goals and maybe creating even more than we were doing last year.
One of the other things that came up is that the last 4 goals conceded have begun with throw-ins. Is that something that you pick up on? You notice? Or something?
We certainly do pick up on it. We were really disappointed with certainly the 2 in the league game against Brentford. We were incredibly disappointed, and then obviously we had it the same as well in the other game. So at Arsenal, so we were really disappointed with that.
And just in terms of the team, and there have been injuries throughout the season, you're getting people back now. Naif Agad's come in. Are you starting to see that him as someone that's really going to start establishing himself?
Yeah, well, you've got to remember, I think he's played 1 full Premier League game, maybe 2 possibly. So it's really early days for him. So we would have hoped that by now he would have had the best part of 15, 20 games under his belt, but obviously because of his injury he's not been able to do so. But we're getting him used to it now, and I still believe it will take him a while to get up to speed completely. But I think it's the same for nearly all the players joining the Premier League at the moment. It's taking them a little bit of time to settle in.
And just finally, picking up on what Mark was asking about Craig Dawson as well, possibility of him going, would you prefer to have someone in before you consider letting him go?
Well, we've got 4 other centre-halves at the moment, so we're pretty well covered in that area, and at the moment we've not said that we are doing anything, and we've not said that we're not. We're just telling you that we've had an offer.
Thank you.
BBC London.
Hi David. Positive result against Brentford, and you've avoided defeat against Leeds. Do you get the sense that you're potentially starting to turn a corner here?
Yeah, I think we have been. I think at the start of the year we always said, look, let's get a new year going. So we've started the new year pretty well, so we've got to try and keep that going. Ended up a wee bit disappointed we only drew at Leeds United, but great that we won in what was a really difficult game to go to Brentford and win the way they're playing at the moment and what they're doing. So it was a good result for us to get through in the cup. At the moment we've got the supporters have got something to cheer about with a couple of cup competitions to be looking forward to in the second half of the season. Now we need to do the job in the league and get ourselves in a much healthier position than we're in at the moment.
We're only halfway through the season, it's still a long way to go.
Mm-hmm.
But do you already get the sense that the game against Leeds, the Wolves, the upcoming game against Everton, these aren't necessarily the games that you can't lose, but that you must win, that you can't, you also, do you feel like you can't lose these games?
Yeah, there's a little bit. I mean, I think that You might correct me here. What I'm saying is, I think we've got 6 games in January. I think 5 have been away from home. We've had 1 at home since in January. You know, very rare you get a level of amount of away games that we've got. So we've been away to Leeds, we've been away to Wales, we've been away to Brentford in the Cup. You know, so been away to Arsenal recently. So we've had a real bundle of games away from home. So from that point of view, I think that hopefully we can keep picking up the points away from home. We've got to pick up something if we can, and you know, hopefully when we get back to the London Stadium in the coming weeks, we'll be able to show it.
And just lastly, just a word on Sebastian Aller's return to training.
Mhm.
Having 6 months ago been diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah.
You coached him, and I know you coached Alan Stubbs shortly after he come back from
Yeah.
a similar illness. Do you just have any words of advice or anything you'd like to say?
Well, I don't have any words of advice regarding their illness or what they've had, but I have to say that, you know, I'm really pleased. Seb was a great lad, and I really enjoyed working with him. And you know, it was incredibly sad. He'd just got his move. He'd done so well when he went to Ajax, and he got his move to Germany. So I'm just hoping that he makes a full recovery. Alan Stubbs made a full recovery and was able to play and went on to have a really long career. So I'm hoping Seb does the same.
That's great. Cameras off then, if we could, please.